I don't usually talk about this, but it's been eating me alive. Maybe someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe it'll stop someone from making the same mistake I did. This happened back in 2019 when I was living in California. I had just moved into a new apartment complex in the Glendale area. I was 25, working as a junior designer at a small firm, and trying to make it on my own. It was one of those phases in life where you think the worst is behind you. Rent was steep, work was hectic, but I felt like I was getting the hang of it. I took Ubers all the time, early morning commutes, late night returns, quick grocery runs. Like most people, I trusted the app more than I should have. You rate the ride, tip the driver, and move on. That's it, right? One night, after a friend's birthday party in Burbank, I booked an Uber around 1:45 a.m. The streets were dead. My driver was some middle-aged guy named Ricky. Profile pic looked normal. 4.8 stars. No red flags. The car was clean, smelled like lemon air freshener. Nothing weird. But halfway through the ride, he started asking personal questions like where I lived, what I did for work, if I had roommates. I laughed it off at first. You know, sometimes drivers just try to be chatty. Then it got uncomfortable. He asked if I was single, if I was into older guys. I told him straight up, "Hey, I'm not really comfortable with this." His smile changed, like, twisted. He went quiet for a bit. Then he said something I'll never forget. "You should be nicer. You never know who remembers you." I was creeped out, but the ride ended. I reported it through the app, rated him 1 star, and wrote a detailed complaint. Uber said they'd look into it. A week later, I got an email saying his account had been suspended for violating conduct guidelines. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. Weeks passed. Life got back to normal. I stopped thinking about that ride. Honestly, it was buried under deadlines and rent checks and noisy neighbors. But then weird stuff started happening. First, I'd get these hang-up calls around 2 or 3 in the morning, always from private numbers, the kind where you hear breathing, then click. I figured it was a prank or someone dialed the wrong number, blocked them, moved on. Then I started noticing this same black Honda Civic parked near my apartment gate. It'd be there late at night, headlights off, just idling. The first time I didn't think much, but it started showing up often. Different spots, same car, same dents on the back bumper, same sun-faded Uber sticker. One night, I came down to take out the trash. As I turned the corner, I saw the Civic again. This time closer, parked right outside the gate. And I swear, I saw someone inside. I froze, tried to make out the face, but the windows were tinted dark. Then the driver's side window rolled down just a crack, and I saw him. It was Ricky, same guy I reported, same guy who'd been banned. I felt my stomach drop. I turned back immediately, didn't even throw the trash, ran up to my apartment, double-locked the door, and sat there in silence. That's when I knew he was back, and he was watching me. I barely slept that night. Every creak from the hallway, every car door outside made my chest tighten. I tried convincing myself it wasn't him. Maybe it was someone who just looked like Ricky. Maybe it was a coincidence. But then the photos started. One morning, I woke up to an envelope slid under my door. No postage, no name, just a single photograph inside. It was a grainy picture of me, standing at the corner store near my place, headphones on, holding my coffee, taken from behind. My heart started racing. I checked my doorbell camera, nothing. He must have known where the blind spots were. Later that day, I went to the apartment manager and asked if they'd seen anything. They shrugged. "People come and go all the time," they said. I showed them the photo. They looked uncomfortable but had no answers. I contacted Uber again, told them Ricky was back, stalking me even after being banned. They told me his account had been terminated and assured me there was no way he could drive under that name again. But they were wrong. I started riding less, took cabs, got groceries delivered, but I still had to go to work, And one morning, in a rush, I caved and booked an Uber again. I triple-checked the name, license plate, even the photo. It was someone named Alex. But when the car pulled up, it was the same black Civic. I hesitated. The driver didn't make eye contact. He just kept looking forward, hand resting on the gear. I stepped back. Then I saw it, barely visible through the glass. A small tattoo on his wrist. The same one Ricky had on the night of that original ride. He was using someone else's account. I didn't get in. I backed away slowly and walked straight back into my building. I reported the profile. Again. Uber responded a day later saying the account had been under review. That was it. No cops. No protection. No follow-up. That night, I put a chair against my door. 2 nights later, it happened. I was walking home from work. It wasn't too late, maybe around 9. I'd taken a bus instead of a cab. My usual shortcut went through the back alley of my complex. It was always well lit. Never felt unsafe. But that night, every light in the alley was out. Pitch black. I paused for a second. Thought about going around the block. But I didn't. I just wanted to get home. Halfway through the alley, I felt it. Like someone behind me. I turned. Nothing. Then I heard a car engine soft, steady. Headlights flipped on behind me. Same Civic. It sped up fast, tires screeching. I ran. Heart in my throat, bag bouncing against my back. I ran harder than I ever had. I turned the corner just as the car slammed on the brakes, missing me by inches. I reached the building entrance and started punching in the code. My fingers fumbled. Felt like hours. I got in, slammed the door shut, looked out through the glass, and he was just standing there, outside, not trying to get in, just staring. He lifted a phone and took a picture of me. Then he left. I created a burner Uber rider account using a friend's number. Late one night, I set my pickup location a few blocks away. I requested a ride. Kept refreshing until a black Civic showed up with a fake profile. The license plate matched. I waited. He parked and sat, just like before. No movement. I called the cops while walking up to the car. Phone in one hand, pepper spray in the other. He didn't see me coming. I opened the passenger door and screamed loud enough for the entire street to hear. This is the guy. This is the guy stalking me. He tried to drive off, but someone blocked him. My neighbor, who had been waiting in his car with me. The cops arrived 2 minutes later. Ricky was arrested. He had 3 phones, a camera, and a folder with dozens of printed photos of me, of my sister, of other women. He had been doing this to multiple people. He was using stolen driver credentials, exploiting Uber's gaps, and targeting people who had once reported him. But this time, it ended. I was 19, a second-year college student living in Manila, studying visual design, freelancing at night, juggling projects like most broke students do. I wasn't the kind who partied or stayed out late, but that week was different. Finals were over, and my roommates and I decided to celebrate. It was nothing wild, just dinner, a few laughs, and by 10:30 p.m., we were ready to go. I booked an Uber through my app. I always double-checked the plate, photo, everything. I'd heard stories, but that night, the car looked exactly like the app said. Black Toyota Vios, driver named Arnell, 4.9 stars. Friendly smile in the profile pic. He was already waiting outside the cafe when I stepped out. I waved. He nodded. I got in. The ride started normal. Quiet music. AC on. No small talk, which I liked. I sat behind the passenger seat, scrolling through my phone. But something about the route felt off. Not wrong. Just slower. More turns than necessary. I leaned forward. Isn't this a longer way? He didn't answer right away. Then he smiled, eyes never leaving the road. Just avoiding traffic, ma'am. I let it go. But that smile? stayed with me. He kept glancing into the rear-view mirror. Not in the usual way. Not for driving. Like he was checking me. I was already tense. So I pretended to be on a call. Opened my camera. Tried to discreetly snap his face in the mirror. I posted it to my IG story. Captioned it, "Creepy Uber driver vibes. Send help LOL." It was supposed to be a joke. But that photo would end up on a police board 2 weeks later. When I reached home, the ride ended smoothly. The guy even gave a polite good night as I got out. The car didn't linger. He drove off, but I couldn't shake the unease. I locked my door, shut the curtains, and sat on my bed, replaying the ride in my head. That's when I noticed something. My Instagram story, just posted 20 minutes earlier, had over 400 views. That was 5 times my usual. And a bunch of the usernames were completely random. Weird combos of letters and numbers. No followers. No profile pictures. Like bots or burner accounts. I clicked on one of them, and their only highlight was a blurry picture of me walking out of the restaurant earlier that night. Taken from a distance. I felt sick. I told myself it was a glitch. Maybe someone reshared my post. I turned off the lights, crawled into bed, and tried to sleep. But then my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Red pajamas. Cute. Do you sleep with the light off? I was wearing red pajamas. My curtains were shut. Someone was watching me. I called the building guard. He came up, checked everything, found nothing. Said the CCTV showed no one following me in. But something felt violated. Like someone had seen too much of me. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I went straight to the Barangi office. Filed a report. Showed them the screenshot of the message, the weird Instagram account, everything. They told me to be cautious. Change my number. Tighten privacy settings. But what they didn't know, what none of us knew, was that this wasn't just some creep messaging random girls. This was something organized. Later that week, I got a DM from a girl named Ina. She said she saw my story and needed to talk. I didn't know her, but something in her message made me respond. We met at a cafe near school. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. "I think they're using fake Uber accounts," she said, "to track girls like us. Then they sell our location. Like a live auction." I froze. I asked her what she meant. She showed me screenshots. An underground Telegram group, full of usernames I'd seen on my IG story. Guys sharing screenshots of Uber rides, photos of female passengers, even their destinations. One message said, "Live now, 19F, Paze drop-off, red pajamas, quiet area, starting bid, $50. I felt like I was going to throw up. She said she was almost followed home too, that she got saved only because her dad was waiting at the gate with their dog. She tried reporting it, but the chats vanished. The accounts deleted. They were careful, but not careful enough. That's when I realized someone had been watching everything about me, from the moment I booked the ride till I stepped into my apartment. And someone had paid to know it all. 2 nights later, I was alone. My roommates were out. I had pepper spray next to my bed. Every window locked, curtains drawn. I hadn't taken any rides. No Uber. No nothing. Around 2 a.m., I heard the elevator ding on our floor. Then soft footsteps in the hallway. Slow. Measured. I turned off the lights and peeked through the peephole. 2 men. One wearing a hoodie. The other holding something. Maybe a crowbar? They weren't knocking. They weren't making noise. They were standing at my door, as if waiting. I texted my building's emergency group. No one replied. I was about to call the guard when the doorknob jiggled. My heart nearly exploded. They were trying it. I screamed, loud, banged on the wall. That made them freeze for a second. But instead of running, one of them whispered through the door, "You posted the wrong photo, sweetheart." I backed away, then pounding. Not knocking, pounding, like they were gonna break it down. I grabbed the pepper spray and my phone, locked myself in the bathroom, and called the police. I don't remember much else. I was crying, praying, listening to the banging turn into running. Then silence. The police found the stairwell door ajar. CCTV caught both men leaving. One of them was Arnell, the original driver I had reported. Only he wasn't Arnell. He was using his cousin's Uber account. After the attack, everything moved fast. Police launched an investigation. My building handed over the CCTV footage, and when they ran facial recognition on the two men, what came out chilled all of us. The guy pretending to be Arnell? His real name was Jericho Valena, 34 years old, multiple past complaints of harassment and assault under rideshare platforms. But none of them ever stuck. Why? Because he never used his own name. Always borrowed identities, cousins, friends, even paid strangers, to pass Uber's background check. They raided a place he was seen frequenting. What they found blew the case wide open. It was a small condo in Pasig. Just one laptop, multiple phones, and a wall covered in scribbled addresses, printed selfies, social handles of girls. Hundreds of them. The laptop was still logged in. It had been running a Telegram chat room under the name Night Ride Auction. It was a live group with over 3,000 members from across Asia and Europe. All men. All predators. Inside, moderators posted live rideshare tracking, shared screenshots from Uber driver dashboards, picked out female passengers they thought looked cute or easy, real-time location data, apartment numbers. Then they'd auction off access. Bids ranged from $30 to $300. Some bidders just watched the live tracking. Others requested videos. And some paid extra to meet the girl at drop-off. Police believe I was one of the featured rides that night. The guy in the hoodie, he was the highest bidder. The story hit the news. Headlines like, "Rideshare Horror. Women Targeted in Live Tracking Auction. Manila's Night Ride Ring Busted. Dozens of fake drivers involved." Uber released a statement, claimed they were cooperating fully, promised reforms, background checks, tech upgrades. But the thing is, these guys weren't using just Uber. They were rotating between multiple platforms, using cloned phones, renting verified accounts, operating in shadows where no algorithm could catch them. Ina and I became part of the ongoing case. Victim witnesses. There were dozens more. Some were just stalked. Some were attacked. One didn't survive. A 23-year-old student from Makati. She was last seen entering a grab ride. The car was later found torched. Her body dumped by the river. She too had posted a selfie from the back seat. Happy. Smiling. Just like me. If you're still listening, I've moved since then. Different city. Different SIM card. I haven't taken a rideshare alone in over 2 years. I keep curtains shut even in the daytime. I check my mirrors every 5 minutes. I don't post anything in real time, because you never know who's watching, who's lurking behind that 4.9-star profile, who's bidding. Never assume your ride ends at the drop-off, because for some of us, that's exactly where the nightmare begins. I'm Tom, 34, marketing guy, lived in East London for most of my life. Flat in Shoreditch, decent job, boring routines. Until 2022, I thought I had life figured out. Early gym, coffee, work, sleep, repeat. That Thursday started like any other. Meetings, emails, Thai lunchbox. But by evening, I was wiped. There was this small business event at a hotel in Kensington. I wasn't in the mood, but my manager insisted I show face. Said networking was part of the job. So I went, stayed 2 hours, made fake smiles, had one beer, left early around 9:30 p.m. I booked an Uber outside the hotel lobby. It was drizzling. Driver arrived fast. Black Prius, tinted windows, license plate matched. Driver was this older guy, mid-40s, South Asian accent, polite. Nothing shady. He greeted me, helped toss my laptop bag in the back. I remember placing my coat beside me on the seat, patting my pocket for keys. Still there. Wallet, phone, check. The ride was smooth, quiet. I was half asleep when we reached my street. Paid through the app, said thanks, grabbed my bag and coat, and went in. I didn't know then. Something was missing. I got home around 10:10 p.m., buzzed into my building. Elevator up to the 3rd floor. No one around. Unlocked my flat, dumped everything on the table, microwaved leftover lasagna, and fell asleep watching an episode of Black Mirror. Ironically, the one about surveillance. The next thing I remember was waking up at 3:27 a.m. to the sound of a drawer closing. I sat bolt upright. First thought, my flatmate. But I live alone. I held my breath, every muscle tight. There was someone inside. Footsteps. Slow. Steady. Moving from the kitchen toward the hall. I grabbed my phone, crawled behind the sofa, dialed 999 but didn't hit call yet. Then I heard it. My bedroom door creaking open. Someone checking each room. I peeked out, just for a second. Black hoodie, gloves, slim build, backpack on his shoulder, flashlight in hand. This wasn't a drunk or a squatter. This was a pro, and he had gotten in without breaking anything. I finally dialed, whispered to the operator that someone was inside my flat. She told me to stay hidden, stay quiet, and the police were en route. But something was wrong. The man wasn't panicking. He moved like he knew the layout, like he'd studied it. He didn't touch drawers randomly, he went straight for the ones with valuables. My bedroom, wardrobe, the storage shelf behind the curtains where I kept my emergency cash. He even checked behind the toilet tank. This wasn't his first time. I heard the front door click open again. A second man entered. I saw only his shoes, white trainers, the type delivery guys wear. They whispered to each other in some foreign language. Then they left calmly. No rush, like they knew no one would stop them. 5 minutes later, the sirens arrived. The police found my door locked. No sign of forced entry. I unlocked it for them, still shaking. The flat was ransacked. Wallet gone. 2 watches. My backup laptop. They even took my passport. But what chilled me the most? The tiny key hook by the front door was empty. My spare flat key gone. Over the next 2 days, I was wrecked. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't focus. I kept thinking, how did they unlock the door? There was no damage. No crowbars. No picked lock. Then I remembered something. During that Uber ride, I had patted my pocket to check for keys. What if they slipped out onto the back seat? I called Uber support. Asked if anything had been reported lost in that car. They said no. Still, I messaged the driver through the app. No reply. Then I froze. I remembered something I'd brushed off earlier. That faint click sound, right before I stepped out of the car. At the time I thought it was the driver unlocking the door. But it wasn't. It was the sound of a photo being taken. Police took the case seriously after they reviewed building CCTV. 2 men entering my flat at 3:20 a.m., exiting at 3:38. No signs of breaking in. And both had gloves, masks, backpacks. Pros. Then they pulled footage from the hotel I left that night. The Uber car had waited a full 3 minutes after I got out. The driver turned on his cabin light, reached to the back seat, and snapped a photo of something using his phone. That photo was of my house key. Turns out he didn't steal it. He didn't have to. He photographed it. That was enough. The detective assigned to my case told me something that didn't feel real at first. There was an actual black market network operating in London. A string of rideshare drivers, mostly Uber, some Bolt, who were trained to spot things. Keychains that slipped out of pockets, ID cards peeking from bags, even security access cards for buildings. They wouldn't steal them. They'd just photograph them. Then they'd send the images to WhatsApp numbers connected to rogue locksmiths and hackers. Within hours, replicas could be made. Even 3D printed. That's what happened to me. They didn't take my key, just copied it from a picture. The detective said this: "These aren't smash and grab guys. They're inside men. They use real rides to map out targets." And it wasn't just me. There were others. A woman from Hammersmith lost her jewelry collection. A banker in Canary Wharf had his ID cloned, and someone used it to access his office 2 days later. Same pattern, rideshare trip, key or card photographed, no forced entry. The Uber driver? His name on the app was Raymond M. But that ID belonged to someone else. A guy in Manchester who'd rented his verified profile to friends for extra cash. The guy who actually drove me? Untraceable burner number. Fake address. Facial recognition didn't match the profile. He was part of a ring. Uber drivers using rented accounts for cover. In exchange, they got a cut from every successful burglary their info led to. I asked how many victims. The officer just sighed and said, "Dozens. Maybe more. Some never even realize it started with their ride." It's been over a year now. I changed flats, installed cameras, switched jobs. For a while, I even stopped using Uber altogether. But I still get anxious every time I sit in the back of a cab. I still check my pockets 10 times. I never ever leave my keys exposed. Because what they don't tell you is this: you don't have to be careless to get robbed. Sometimes all it takes is one moment, one ride, one photo, and your whole life, your safety, your home, gets put up for sale. So if you're watching this, next time you hop into that Uber, check your seat, check your pocket, check what you're leaving behind, because someone else might be checking too. People say time heals, but some nights when I close my eyes, I still see her face, that terrified look. That night, that damn Uber screen showing dropped off. My name's Marcus. I was 19 in 2018, working at this Burger Queen on Glenwood Avenue in Atlanta. I was on night shift crew. So was Jasmine. Jazz wasn't just a coworker. She was my best friend. We grew up on the same block, went to the same middle school, even shared AirPods at work. She was funny, smart, always humming some SZA song. And she always made it home right after her shifts. Always. But that Friday night, December 7th, 2018, something went wrong. We both closed at 11:30. I stayed back a bit to clean the fryer. Jazz had already ordered her Uber. I remember waving to her from behind the counter. She smiled, pulled up her hoodie, and said, "See you tomorrow, loser." That was the last time I saw her alive. The next day, she didn't show up to work. I thought maybe she overslept, or maybe her phone died. But by 2 p.m., our manager started calling her mom. No answer. Her shift was supposed to start at 3. By 3:30, we knew something was off. Her mom finally called back, said Jasmine never came home. I froze. My heart started racing. I opened my Uber app, went to past trips. She had sent me her ride link the night before, like she always did. Safety thing. According to the app, she'd been dropped off at 11:48 p.m. Status: trip completed. Location: 1433 Welton Drive. That's her house. But her mom said Jez never walked through that door. The cops were called. They started pulling phone records, checking traffic cams. What they found twisted my stomach. At 11:48 p.m., her Uber driver ended the ride on the app. The app showed her safely dropped off at home. But her phone never pinged near her street. Instead, it pinged off a cell tower miles away, near a construction site by the old Beltline tracks. A dead zone. No traffic. No lights. No houses. That's where she was taken. He used some kind of GPS spoofing app, faked the destination coordinates, ended the trip, and took her somewhere else, while her family slept, thinking she was safe in bed. She wasn't. They found her body 2 days later. They found Jasmine's body near an unfinished condo project off Memorial Drive. Cold. Alone. In a ditch behind a half-fenced trailer. It looked like she fought back. Her nails were chipped, her knuckles bruised. But she didn't stand a chance. She was just a kid, barely 17. I remember sitting with her mom when the detectives confirmed it. Her scream, I still hear it sometimes, like it lives in my skull. The driver had vanished. Uber had his profile, Daniel N. 4.9 stars. Clean record. Even had a little badge saying Platinum Driver. But the guy behind the wheel that night wasn't Daniel. Turns out, Daniel N. had rented out his account. It's a thing some drivers do. People who don't have licenses or who've been banned use fake IDs and rent verified profiles for cash. The real Daniel was sleeping in Macon the night Jasmine died. The one driving, no real name, no ID match. He used a burner phone to run Uber through an emulator with a GPS spoofing tool on top. Tech police hadn't even seen before. He could make the app think he was anywhere. He was 15 minutes away from Jazz's house when he clicked End Trip, and by the time anyone figured it out, he'd been off the grid for 36 hours. They tracked his phone to an abandoned apartment in DeKalb. Inside, they found a cracked laptop, SIM card fragments, and 6 Uber driver shirts in different sizes, like it was a uniform for hunting. He had done this before. Not murder, as far as they could tell, but fake drop-offs, creepy detours. One girl he circled her building 3 times before letting her out. Another he accidentally drove past her street. Said his GPS glitched. The worst part? Uber never flagged it. Because to the system, he was a perfect driver. 5 stars. Fast replies. Never canceled. But behind that screen was something inhuman. I still remember the footage from the fast food parking lot, the grainy CCTV clip. Jasmine getting into the car. Smiling. Trusting. You could see her holding her phone. Probably texting her mom that she was on the way. Probably thinking about getting home and putting on Netflix. She never knew what was coming. And that driver, the way he waited a few seconds after she closed the door, adjusted his rearview mirror, then just drove off. Smooth. No rush. They say monsters hide in plain sight. But this one didn't even need to hide. He had the tech, the fake identity, the silence of a system that never looked twice. After her funeral, I deleted all the ride apps from my phone. I couldn't even sit in the back seat of a car for weeks. I walked everywhere, took the bus in the cold, because that ride, the one meant to take her home, became the last place she was seen alive. Her mom started a petition after, to force ride apps to verify real-time driver identity, to stop account rentals, to track unusual GPS activity. Thousands signed it, but I still see the same loopholes today, same faces behind different names. What haunts me the most? That app said she got home safe. The screen turned green. Trip complete. That fake sense of closure. Tricked all of us. Me, her mom, the cops, even Jasmine herself. So if you're watching this, please understand this story isn't just a tragedy. It's a warning. Not every ride ends where it should. Not every 5-star driver is who they claim. And not every drop-off means you made it home. If someone sends you their ride link, check it. Watch it live. Don't assume the green dot means safety, because somewhere out there, someone else is waiting to spoof their way into the dark. And for Jasmine, that fake drop-off was the start of something real, something final.